there's a whole different journey to go from 0 to 1 and then 1 to 10 or 100. So, how did you choose international markets for growth? And what were the distribution channels? Just really in the trenches, what happened?
So let me give you a few examples of how we went along the way. First of all, America happened because we just started there. So and America at that time contributed to I think 54% of all consumer food that was sold globally. So there was just a lot to do in America. We didn't have to look outside of America. Every year we thought about a new market. We'd say if that much effort was put in America, we could actually get 10 times the result. So just stay there and stay focused. I think that helped us a lot for a very long period of time. One of the things, Darshan, that we did, I think, in hindsight, really well, and something that one talks about so very often to new entrepreneurs is that you must collect consumer insights virtually every day. We shouldn't be taking our consumers for granted ever, and so we would research consumers in every manner possible. And one of the ways was to get into direct contact with them. Okay, so when one believed in a little more qualitative, even though it quantity, but a little more qualitative, like a high touch based data point, rather than actually getting people to fill survey forms. So you could do that by doing what we're calling tastings. So our promotions also were just that, where you take an aisle inside a store, pay for it, and on a weekend actually get like 300-400 consumers just taste your product, there. And then we began to record what's called the TPR, the trial to purchase ratio. So we could track on a daily basis, on a geography basis, on a store basis. We could track about where's the TPR the highest. So not hard to understand that weekends, should be the highest, but we discovered that Thursdays were actually much higher than a Sunday. That they would shop much more on that day than on Sunday. So TPRs, were our primary drivers. So we could drop an SKU where the TPR was low. We could emphasize more on a TPR where on a SKU where TPRs were higher. But what it did is it gave us insights into a few things that we may not have thought of. So in a Costco store, and it was just happenstance that two of us were in the store when this incident happened, is while we had our Madras lentils, which is our version of the dal makhani. So one of the things is that none of our products are authentic Indian. They were Indian or Asian, but they were all for the American consumer. So a small example is if we did a palak paneer in India, you will have the palak in a pureed form. But Americans love to feel their food in their mouths. They feel a puree is like baby food, so they won't eat it. If you give it to them in this form. So for them, the Kashmir spinach, as we call it, was stock spinach, and every product therefore was tweaked, turned. Sometimes not just the authentic part. In fact, Indians came and said, "आपका product authentic Indian नहीं है." And we said, "नहीं, but authentic Indian हमको बनाना भी नहीं है. We want to sell what the consumer wants." So in doing that, Madras lentils was being tested at a Costco store. And we had this girl from, and I think this was happening in San Diego. So we were talking about the Hispanic community playing such an influence in that region. And this girl comes up, she took a spoon from this small cup, and she must have really loved it. Okay, so we could see her running across the aisle, and she grabbed her mom, all of 8-9 years old, say, "I want to buy this." And so she came back, got her mom to taste it, and she said, "Okay, great, let me go buy it." We used to sell these 4 packs. Okay, everything in Costco is a big pack. So we saw the mother go pick up a 4 pack, put it in her trolley, and began to move. But this girl ran back, and then she began to collect, like not one, but as many boxes as she could collect in her arms. And she was running, and then her mom was like screaming at her, saying, "What are you doing?" And she said, "No, no, mom, I love it. This is great." And we could see the mom trying to cajole her to say, "Don't worry, I'll come back and buy for you." So we thought this was like a eureka moment for us. We said, "Let's meet these people." and we actually called them in and said, "So I know you liked it, but how are you going to eat this food at home?" She said, "Oh, great! This is perfect for tacos. I'm sure this will go well in the taco, and if this is because we eat refried beans. In any case, this is so much more flavorful, so much more creamy than refried beans." So with that, she went away, and we said, "Gosh, this we never thought of it." Okay, so we never thought that you can do this. So we went back, and in our R&D center, we began to play with, how can you use it in a burrito? How can you use it in an enchilada? How can you use it with nachos? We began to play there, and we realized something about, this dal makhani that we have in India. It actually genuinely is so much more flavorful than just kidney beans in the way that it's served in American Mexican food. Okay, so it is different from Mexican food. And then the tastings there completely changed. Our entire promotion, our communication began to use it in the way that you want to use it. So use it for Mexican. So our tastings began. We created small burritos. We said, "This is what you do: put some sour cream, put your salad on top, and eat." And people loved it. And our sales began to zoom. We would measure the sales in Costco at a hurdle rate of about $700 a week. So if you sold less than $700 a week, you would get knocked off from Costco. But we, within about a few months, we were now clocking more than $1,000 a week in Costco. And Costco has 9 divisions across America, so each division works like a different company. We were only in one of those divisions. And one division after the other over a period of 2 or 3 years, we were selling. No one ever thought now of Tasty Bite Madras lentils as an Indian product that Indians must have in the way that they eat their food. And I think those were the big insights: is allow people an adventure of India. Don't force them to eat it in the way that you eat it. So that was one big thing, and it positioned all our products in that fashion. So we began to talk about Kashmir spinach as a product you can put in your quiche. You can make, so if you can put feta cheese and spinach, don't do anything else. Just put our Kashmir spinach on your quiche, bake it, with cheese on top, and it's great. So the thing is, everything. So we would, and likewise for our Thai offerings, we began to put in water chestnuts as as an essential ingredient in all our Thai offerings, because people wanted a bite, in everything that they wanted. So we did that. The other thing was to also say who is our consumer, and so where will we sell? Became a big thing, because not everywhere is Tasty Bite liked. So our research showed that, and we spent at that time, I think, close to $100,000, which was a lot of money, on collecting the research to say, so who is the Tasty Bite consumer? And we got some wonderful findings. Okay, so the findings were that our consumers loved jazz music. Our consumers were international travelers. Our consumers loved Starbucks coffee. Our consumers loved classical music. And our consumers were educated, so graduate and above. And our consumers were at an income level, family income level of about $75,000. So now, armed with this information, we said if we can know where our consumers live, we know where we can sell. So we then went and collected data from this company called Spectra. Okay, so by zip code in America, we collected the data, Spectra data, and merged. So we actually, I do have a slideshow somewhere which shows how we merged education, income, and some of these other parameters to, out of these thousands of zip codes that America has, into only 140 zip codes where our consumers are concentrated. And we got some stunning findings. Stunning findings were that most of these zip codes were people who stayed in metropolitan areas or close to metropolitan areas. So if they were in the hinterland, they were not Tasty Bite consumers. So when we went and pitched to Walmart, 4,000 stores, and who doesn't want to go there? And Walmart, of course, had been, not allowing us easy entry, because we can't, have space, 4,000 stores. Finally, our proposal to them was, we only need 141 stores with us. We don't want 4,000 stores. And later on, of course, in our journey, we realized a very large market exists there, which is just the market for rices. And so since we were doing organic, and we had by now, of course, by 2011, 12, we had collected a supply chain which was phenomenally well endowed to buy organic produce. We had clusters in Uttarakhand, we had clusters in Jammu and Kashmir, from where we could actually bring in these products. And we went in and launched this. Now a completely new category. Okay, so we were ready to eat food in terms of, when you say the share of plate, we are center of plate. Now we want, like, what do you eat it with? We will give you the rice that you want to eat it with. So we launched 4 plain rices, which were, the plain long grain rice, basmati rice, brown and jasmine. And then we got 5 flavored rices. So we had rices like Thai lime, or we had paella rice, or else even a tandoori rice there. I think that kind of changed. We moved into a new gear altogether, because now Costco was beginning to love us because this was a product that sold in massive volumes there. Okay, so the market dynamics changed. So from a niche market player, so we may have been like the big boys now already in a very narrow market, which is ethnic. And now we are saying with credibility behind us, we were entering the bigger market, which is now that of rice, where only one brand succeeded, which was Uncle Ben's. Okay, so we said this is a classic David versus Goliath story. Uncle Ben's knows how to manufacture, in mass. Uncle Ben's knows how to source everything mass, but Uncle Ben's does not have consumer insight like we do. So we looked at Australia and New Zealand because of its familiarity with Asian food. You will know that these markets are extremely experimentative. Unlike, say, in France, these are Australia and New Zealand very experimentative with food. And so even though the geography was so far away from America, we said let's set up an office here in Pune that takes care of this geography here. And there were just 2 chains, Woolworths and Coles in Australia, and we made a pitch there. Foolhardy pitch in my opinion, where we said उनको जाके सब कुछ Indian Ocean दे देते हैं. So we went up with these mock-ups, of the entire offering that was being sold in any store in Australia, from papadums to ready to eat to spices and powders. It's foolish, of course, and we got shot down, saying, "Do you really manufacture that?" And we said, "No, but we don't. But we want to become this one-stop shop for Indian Asian," and we did not become that. But I think they loved what we are doing in America, and with that range, both Coles and Woolworths became our customers, and we followed the same model, of high-touch consumer contact, data analytics, over there, and we became a nationally selling brand in America with a ACV of over 80%. ACV is the all commodity value. So you measure it by the total universe of the number of stores and how many of those stores are you in. So anything above 40% is great for a consumer brand. We were at 80% plus now in all of Australia and New Zealand. Whereas our ACV in America, despite larger distribution, was now only at 15% and yet growing. Because America does not have like a national chain, like how Coles or Woolworths have in Australia. So even Walmart is only, I think, 12%, of retail sales for America, even though it's like so large.